The Bold and the Beautiful has given fans many things over the decades. Stunning fashion, corporate war, family betrayal, secrets that shook entire generations. But nothing, absolutely nothing, has captivated audiences quite like the love story between Brooke Logan and Ridge Forrester. Because this isn't just a soap opera romance. This is something bigger, something messier, something that has broken fans' hearts so many times they keep coming back for more anyway. And right now, as their story continues to twist in directions no one could have predicted, one question refuses to go away. Were Brooke and Ridge ever truly meant to be? Or were they always destined to destroy each other? Because from the very beginning, these two were never supposed to make sense. She was the girl from the valley, a working class Logan who walked through the doors of Forrester Creations with nothing but ambition and a quietly shattered heart. He was the golden prince of fashion royalty, wealthy, magnetic, complicated, the kind of man who had already loved deeply and already lost deeply before she ever arrived. And yet, from the moment Ridge Forrester laid eyes on Brooke Logan, something shifted, something irreversible. It was 1987 when their story truly began. Brooke walked into Forrester Creations as a chemist, not a model, not a socialite. She was there to work, to build something, to prove herself in a world that had already decided what she was worth. But love, or something that looked dangerously like it, had other plans. Ridge was already tangled in a complicated relationship with Caroline Spencer at the time, but there was something about Brooke he simply could not ignore. Her fire, her intelligence, her refusal to apologize for wanting more, and slowly, painfully slowly, the walls between them began to crack. At first, it felt like a fairy tale. The struggling girl from humble beginnings falling for the heir to a fashion empire. Viewers were enchanted, fans were rooting, and for a brief, glittering moment, it seemed like Brooke Logan might actually get everything she had ever dreamed of. Then the Forrester world reminded everyone exactly how it worked. Because Ridge didn't just come with charm and cheekbones, he came with history. Enter Caroline Spencer, elegant, refined, and already deeply woven into Ridge's life and heart. The triangle ignited immediately. Loyalties split overnight, and suddenly, Brooke wasn't just falling in love, she was fighting for it. Then came Taylor Hayes, sophisticated, composed, a psychiatrist with a warmth that felt like everything Brooke was accused of not being. And Ridge, pulled in two directions at once, made a choice that shattered Brooke completely. He married Taylor, not once, but multiple times. Every single ceremony felt like a fresh wound. Fans who had been cheering for Brooke found themselves watching through their fingers, unable to look away, unable to stop caring. But just when viewers thought the story might finally settle, that Ridge and Taylor were in game, that Brooke would move on, something always pulled it apart again. Because that is the devastating genius of Bridge. They cannot fully commit to each other, but they cannot fully leave each other either. And the reasons pile up like wreckage. There were the scandals that tested everything. The infamous bedroom line launch that made Brooke a household name and a target. The affairs, the secrets, the confessions delivered at the absolute worst possible moments. The children caught in the crossfire. Hope, Bridget, Rick, RJ, all of them born into a legacy of love and chaos in equal measure. Each child became a new reason to stay connected. Each child also became a new reason everything kept falling apart. Then came one of the most devastating complications in the entire saga, the Deacon Sharp chapter. A betrayal so complicated, so layered, that even now fans argue over who deserved the most blame. Brooke and Deacon's connection produced Hope, a daughter Ridge eventually chose to love and raise as his own, and yet the damage to their trust cut deep, bone deep. Ridge had his own complicated history with Amber, with Taylor, with relationships Brooke was expected to forgive and understand. But forgiveness, it turns out, is not always the same thing as healing, and healing, it turns out, is not always the same thing as moving on. Suddenly, the cycle became impossible to ignore. Reunion, rupture, reconciliation, repeat. Fans who had been watching since the beginning started to wonder if Brooke and Ridge were each other's greatest love story, or each other's most beautiful trap. Because with every remarriage came fresh hope, and with every collapse came fresh devastation. The wedding count climbed. 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. By the time most couples are celebrating a first anniversary, Brooke and Ridge had already survived enough drama to fill a lifetime of television. And then came the Taylor question all over again. Because Taylor Hayes never truly disappeared from Ridge's orbit. She returned, refined, reimagined, ready, and the fandom split right down the middle. Team Brooke, Team Taylor. A rivalry so fierce it jumped off television screens and into real life, into fan forums, into into social media comment sections, into conversations between strangers who had never met but somehow felt deeply invested in who Ridge Forrester chose to love. That kind of passion doesn't happen by accident. It happens because the writers, the actors, and the story itself touch something real, something recognizable. Because here's the truth that sits at the center of the Bridge saga, the truth that has kept viewers watching for nearly 4 decades. It isn't really about fashion empires or California mansions or perfectly styled confrontations in marble lobbies. It's about the terrifying feeling of loving someone so completely that you lose yourself in them. It's about choosing the same person over and over again, even when every rational thought tells you to stop. It's about the way some connections simply refuse to be logical, and that is something every single viewer, regardless of age, background, or how many soaps they watch, has felt at some point in their own lives. That moment of recognition is why Brooke and Ridge still matter. That's the real secret. Social media makes that passion impossible to miss. Every major Bridge development trends within hours. When they reunite, fans flood comment sections with celebration. When they collapse again, the grief feels completely genuine. Some viewers firmly believe Brooke and Ridge are soulmates, destined, inevitable, irreplaceable. Others argue just as passionately that the relationship has always been fundamentally broken at its core, that the pattern of hurt and repair has gone on too long, that true love should not feel this exhausting. And then there is a quieter group, the ones who simply watch, who refuse to pick a side, who show up every single episode because whatever this is between Brooke and Ridge, it is unlike anything else on television. And honestly, they might be the wisest fans of all. But here is where things stand now. The saga is not over, not even close, because the bold and the beautiful has never been content to let Bridge rest in peace, or rest in happiness for that matter. New complications are already circling. Old wounds have a way of reopening at the exact worst moment. And the people in Ridge's life, his children, his exes, his rivals, all carry opinions about who deserves to stand beside him, which means the questions are already piling up. Will Ridge and Brooke find their way back to each other one more time, or has the damage finally reached a point of no return? Is Taylor truly out of the picture, or is her story with Ridge far from finished? Can Brooke ever fully trust again after everything she has survived? And after nearly 40 years of loving the same man through every possible version of heartbreak, does she even want to? Because some love stories are beautiful, some are complicated, and some, the rarest kind, are both at once, so tangled together that you can never fully separate the joy from the pain. Brooke and Ridge have always been that kind. The kind that doesn't resolve neatly, the kind that doesn't offer easy answers, the kind that keeps you coming back episode after episode, decade after decade, because somewhere deep down you still believe, you still hope that this time, finally, it might be different. And maybe that's the real reason Bridge endures. Not because they always get it right, but because they keep trying anyway. Because some love stories aren't written to be perfect. They're written to be unforgettable. And for Brooke Logan and Ridge Forrester, that part was never in question.